Hey, back with another one, man. Tonight we're gonna talk about how I turned the penitentiary into a university. One of the quotes that I wanted to start off with, it says that they buried me, but they didn't know that I was a seed. And so I say that to say that when I first got incarcerated at the age of 19 years old, that's what it felt like. Man, it was dark. It was a dark moment in my life, probably one of the darkest moments in my life. And I didn't know, honestly, how I was going to survive a life sentence. And being a young dude, being a teenager, really not, having the knowledge of self, being ego-driven, and not having no understanding about nothing, it just really humbled me and put me into a situation that I really had to sit down and start taking a look at myself. Never really been a dumb dude, but I just made a lot of dumb decisions. And so I say that to say that being incarcerated, not only did I get a lot of accomplishments when it came to my trades and stuff like that, but one of the main things that I learned was the knowledge of self. Learning the knowledge of self came from not just self-study, but came from a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and a lot of observation. Each institution, each penitentiary that I came in came with different levels of lessons. Being locked down for Lawton for a while, some guys down there was very educated, some guys down there had PhDs, guys was real, astute in their studies. Then you had, when you went to other institutions, I went to Greensville, I went to Sussex, which was a maximum security facility. I went to Hancock County, Tennessee, and ultimately I left from Lewisburg Penitentiary. And so I wanted to really touch on, a lot of times when I was incarcerated in solitary confinement, when I was locked down, that's when the real lessons came. Because one of the greatest lessons is said, circumstances don't make a man, it reveals him to himself. And so being in that solitary confinement really gave me a chance to really start, taking a look at the potential that I possess. One of the books that I read, it said, man, when you change your thoughts, you change your life. And that's what happened. I changed my life, man. I couldn't change my circumstances, but I changed my way of thinking. I changed the way that I was looking at it. So I made the best out of the worst situation. I was able to make the transition based on the fact that I seen other guys, I seen how they was moving. Guys of intellect, guys that was intellectual, they frowned upon guys that was current, with the bravado, guys walking around with the images. Some dudes was millionaires. A lot of guys, man, had plenty of money, and, they ain't really, approve or look at guys that was, guerrillas or gangsters, like, they was like that. And so a lot of times that gave me a different perspective on, how I wanted to carry it. Even though I can get, gangster or gorilla or whatever I had to do in order to survive, but, my primary focus was getting out and staying out. One of the things that I had the opportunity to do, I said playing chess, really allowed me to come in contact with a lot of different nationalities. I came in contact with some Chinese, some Asians, some Italians, some Colombians, some Mexicans. The list go on when it comes to different, ethnic backgrounds, different ethnic groups. And a lot of these dudes, man, they was millionaires. They was millionaires, but they was humble. They was taking care of families from the jail. And a lot of them, they liked the way I carried it. I was a young dude. I wasn't never really, even though I'm from DC, DC always had this reputation everywhere we go, we got to take over. Everywhere we go, we got to be, we got to be the ones that's the movers and the shakers. Or somebody else doing something, man, they need to know that we a part of that. We got to get that, Some guys ain't had nothing coming. Like I said, they on missions. Soon they on a bus or they on a plane, however they transporting us, it's already a known fact. When they go to the camp, they taking over. They robbing, they stealing, and if they have to, they gonna kill. And so, me being my own man, I was always the type of guy, man, I was like, man, I ain't, I'm not moving like that. I don't let nobody dictate to how I move. Never did. And so, one of the times when I was at one of the camps and the guys were talking about, man, Shorty, look, man, this how we doing it. When I first came there, I think I first came to Lewisburg, they were like, man, that's how we carrying it, man. Look, we all one, because they was going to war. It was a lot of activity. And I was like, I think I was the Grand Sheik. I became the Grand Sheik or the Assistant Grand Sheik of the Moore Science Temple of America at that particular time. And I was like, brother, I ain't with that. And I wasn't, I'm humble. My mission at that particular time was to get out. And so, like I said, just coming in contact with a lot of good guys, man, a lot of good dudes, a lot of good men that was self-taught. It was autodidactic. A lot of guys was, man, really studying and reading, exchanging books, intellectual properties. When I first heard about Warren Buffett, I was looking at the newspaper and the guy said, Shorty, you know anything about him, Warren Buffett? I'm like, nah, I don't know nothing about him. He said, man, look how much this stock costs. Man, his stock was like, at that particular time, probably like $50 million a stock. And that was like 30 years ago. And so, this coming in contact with different dudes, and like I said, reading different books, especially about our history, about, our people being the torchbearers of civilization. We was high scholars, we was high navigators of the sea. We built ships. We was basically, the rulers of the stars. And that's how we was able to navigate from east to west, north to south. And knowing that we civilized the world, but at the same time, I'm reading how we civilized the world and how we civilized the uncivilized. We was kind of like beasts and barbarians in the joint. It was really kind of like animals, man. There was a lot of animal activity, and each situation, each location taught me different lessons. And I never ever, like I said, I never ever underestimated the next man, because the guy that you look at as being soft or being weak, that's the guy that'll take your life. And so, meeting guys, man, playing a game of chess, and because chess is an intelligent game. It teach you how to problem solve. It teach you how to make better decisions, and it teach you about strategic thinking. The same way it is in life, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Same way it is in chess, the beginning, the middle, and the end. But the thing is, we had to start developing the end game, so that's what I had to start developing. Early on, a part of my bit, I started developing the end game. I started writing my goals down, writing how I wanted to move when I get out in society, how I wanted to be. Like I said, I never really ran with a circle, so I ain't have to worry about that part, once I got out. But being incarcerated, I came in contact with a lot of good people and was able to help a lot of good dudes. A lot of guys, once we started getting locked down, when we went to Sussex County was a supermax. It was in Sussex, Virginia, the supermax, brand new facility. And they was moving guys out of Lawton. At that particular time, they was closing Lawton down. A lot of guys, man, they couldn't handle the cell. A lot of guys couldn't handle that cell. And, I got used to it being quiet. I like the quiet. So I used to wake up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just to read, meditate, close my eyes so I can visualize, look on the walls of my mind, imagination, and see exactly how I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, the things that I wanted to have. And I manifested them things. But, you know, being incarcerated with a lot of guys who couldn't read, you know, it was like mouth to ear. So, you know, a lot of times I had to, you know, talk to guys, man, give them information, you know, to change their situation, give them hope. Just, you know, sit down with them. And sometimes it's being it, learning how to be a therapist. And so that's how I was able to turn the penitentiary into a university, man. I read all the books. I started with the novels, the urban novels. Once I got past that, then I started getting more into books about psychology, books about the knowledge of self, you know. And once I started getting in tune with that, it changed my whole perception, changed my whole outlook. And so it just didn't start out here when I came out here. Since I've been out here in society, I've done a whole lot of things in the 21 years that I've been home. This year make 21 years since I've been home. And, you know, though the ways of life are uneven, no, they ain't all painful, you know, except the good with the bad, the bitter with the sweet. And one of the things I say, my success is not defined with the things or the materialistic possessions that I've acquired. My success is my ability to survive. Man, I survived some of the horrific situations that a person can encounter. I remember being locked down on the last cell on the tier. And man, it was dark. It was dark. It was one of the darkest moments. Like I said, coming in as a youngin', man, and a lot of guys was breaking. A lot of guys was in that pill line. When the medical people come in to give people the pill, you know, guys, man, I can't sleep. Can't sleep. The walls, man, be closing in, claustrophobic. And, you know, like I said before, you know, pressure going to do two things. It's going to make you or it's going to break you. And a lot of guys that people that had names or images or reputations, man, they was cracking. Man, they was cracking. A lot of them guys wasn't that. And I was saying, I was like, damn, I thought Slim was, you know, I thought he was a stand-up dude, man. He was folding like a lawn chair. And so, like I said, circumstances don't make a man. It reveals him to himself. So those circumstances revealed me into who I was, not just on the outside. Like I said, ain't but so many push-ups, burpees, and sit-ups you can do. You know, you got to get in tune with self. You in the cell, raw, nothing but your thoughts. And so you got to gather them thoughts and take a look at, you know, your life and what you want to do and who you want to be. And so that's what I did. That's what I did. I took advantage of the situation. It is said, out of the worst, the wise will find means of good. And so I was able to make the best situation out of the worst conditions. And of course, and I prayed a whole lot. I prayed more than Sunni Muslims pray 5 times a day. I probably was praying 25 times a day. Not necessarily, you know, in prostration, but just in thought. You know, thinking of early morning I woke up. Every night, man, I was able to go to sleep because a lot of people wasn't making it. A lot of guys, man, they was bodying them. They was taking their forms. Even in the silence, you know, guys couldn't deal with that cell. They was screaming and hollering, hey, CO, hey, flood the toilets, flood the tears, lighting they mattress and sheets and causing riots. Man, I'm talking about it got crazy at times, but being able to maintain my sanity in an insane condition or insane environment was my #1 priority, because it says self-preservation is the first law of nature. That's the first law of nature. You got to preserve yourself, man, because a lot of guys wasn't making it out. A lot of guys was not making it out, and they did come out. They wasn't the same as they went in. A lot of dudes, man, being incarcerated for a long time, that mental health became a serious issue, you know. And I just had to be strong. You know, your mind got to be strong. Because like it said, without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. So you don't never know how strong you are until you're confronted with a situation that you gotta face head on. Ain't no ducking, ain't no getting around it. You know, and so these are the things that define me as a man. A man is defined by the principles that he lived by. So I had to maintain a constant flow, a steady elevation. My intellect had to be over my emotion. I had to become a master of myself. You know, master my environment. These are things that helped me make this transition. And like I said, it wasn't no cakewalk. I'd be sitting here, you know, fluffing if I was telling you that this thing was a cakewalk. It wasn't. Every day was consistent self-discipline. I used to write little sticky notes, put them on the wall inside my cell, little quotes that I had to remember. And it just helped me, man, because, you know, a lot of times, man, it'll take everything that you possess and you still got to remember, you know, certain principles that you have to live by and certain things that's going to help you get through, you know, those tough moments. Because it is said, you know, when the tough get tough, man, you know, the rough get rough. And that's how you had to become. That's how I became. And so, just to give you some insight into, you know, how I turned the penitentiary into a university, like I said, it came with a price. And you're going to pay the price, either the price of regret or the price of reward.